The Iowa Hawkeyes are just days into fall camp. It started last Wednesday. Hawkeyes reporting on Tuesday. We are now just about to turn the calendar to a new week. I'm recording this on Sunday, August 4th, and some early scuttlebutt from fall camp. A couple early reports that I thought I would feed down to all of you. Kind of interesting from the inside out. And of course, we get to chat with Iowa players and get a look at everybody for ourselves here in a few days during Iowa Media Day and the following day at the Kids Day Open Practice. Before we get to the tidbit of information I wanted to share with all of you, I want to thank our sponsor, Under the Kitchen. Randy will be down at Fry Fest as he is each and every year. Check it out. Check out his stand and get your authentic Hawkeye print. Under the Kitchen on Facebook, underthekitchen.square.site, and visit him at Fry Fest this August. So, early scuttlebutt from fall camp and a couple, I think, newsworthy notes. First of all, this one. Jacob Gill has shown out. He has been impressive, according to a source that reached out to me here earlier today. I can tell you this, and I've been talking about Jacob Gill throughout the summer. I was told here about a month ago that he had really shown during summer workouts. Now, of course, we know those workouts are player-led. There's also, of course, strength and conditioning. But Iowa finally in uniform. They have not practiced with full pads yet. That will start. That will commence this next week. But here's a couple of notes that I got from a source here earlier today. According to this source, Jacob Gill had a really good day on Saturday. The Hawkeyes, in their scrimmage, reportedly 3 different touchdowns scored by Jacob Gill. Now, I'm just quoting this person who reached out to me. You can doubt that a single Iowa wideout would score 3 touchdowns at any point during any period ever. You have every right to cast aspersions on that and doubt, but that's what I was told, that during a Saturday scrimmage, Jacob Gill went for 3 touchdowns, including at least one where he burned Iowa starting cornerback Jermari Harris. I've mentioned his speed. That's what I keep hearing, is that his speed and quickness is kind of underrated and kind of sneaky speed. He didn't really highlight a ton of that at Northwestern. When he committed to Iowa initially out of the transfer portal, I tried to go back and find high school track numbers. I could only find numbers from him as an underclassman. And so his speed is something I continue to hear about. The other part of this is not just Jacob Gill. Sounds like Caden Weegan has looked good so far. Those 2 guys might be the best pass catchers on this team right now. All right. And I'm factoring in Caleb Brown, Seth Anderson, Jared Bowie when I say that. Now, again, we're just a couple of days in, but earlier reports are that Jacob Gill has looked really good with his speed, with his hands, and Caden Weegan has not been far behind. On top of that, I was told John Nestor, who we know has been the talk of the town ever since he was put atop the Iowa depth chart at the cornerback spot opposite Jermari Harris, he has looked really good. You're going to see a lot of Luke Lachey as it relates to this offense. There's no surprise there, and that is consistent with early reports out of fall camp. Sounds like Seth Anderson did make a really impressive one-handed diving catch on Saturday, but he's also struggled at times with some drops. And I mentioned a name during our show with Mark Rogers the other day to watch out for, to look for, to emerge possibly this camp. He was listed on the fall depth chart, the pre-fall depth chart, but look for Kamari Moulton, redshirt freshman Kamari Moulton out of Florida, to make a jump. He's already listed ahead of Jazz Patterson. He's packed on a number of pounds during the offseason, he's gotten bigger. Don't be surprised if he starts to emerge. Is it possible that Caleb Johnson slips behind Kamari Moulton? I suppose that's possible, but it sounds like perhaps Caleb Johnson not as high on everyone's list as many fans have him. And that's nothing against Caleb Johnson personally. That's just what I continue to hear, is that Layshawn Williams is the clear number 1, and then everybody else, but Kamari Moulton continues to ascend. Good early reports on Jarrett Bowie. Continue to hear that we expect him to play a lot. It sounds to me like through the first few days of fall camp, and then pairing that with what we heard from Kirk Ferentz at Big Ten Media Days and that pre-camp depth chart, Iowa's going to be working through 5 or 6 receivers and trying to figure out who are going to be those top 3 guys. And then you got to work around the suspension for Caleb Brown that will occur week 1 against Illinois State. So that's the early scuttle. Again, just a couple of days in, but I know everybody's wanting to know about early camp buzz. That's what I can tell you, according to one source, that it has been a good stretch of days for a couple of guys, mainly Jacob Gill, Caden Weegan, and I would throw John Nestor in there as well on the defensive side, but much more to come in the weeks ahead, and the days ahead and weeks ahead. And again, we'll have Iowa Media Day coverage and Iowa Kids Day coverage coming up later this week. Folks, if you're not subscribed, be sure to do that. Content just about every day this month as we lead into the season. And then during the season, after every game, Iowa postgame with Coach Don Patterson and myself right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Hit that like button on the way out. We'll talk to you soon.